Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and that's right guys, you know exactly what Apple TV series I am now about to review. And yes, my part 1 of 4 reviews of this one Apple TV original series. And, ever since the trailers came out, and when I checked out one of the first trailers that came out, and at that time I had no full knowledge that this was in development and all that, just one of those where, boom, there's the trailer, it's on social media, YouTube, etc., and yeah. And by checking it out, this seemed very interesting with what was coming directly to Apple TV in 2023. This type of show, and with its style and its setting, yeah, very nice that we get a show like this, eh? So, that's right, guys. I am now reviewing from Apple TV, Hello Tomorrow. Yes, Apple TV's Hello Tomorrow. Yeah, where this show, being futuristic, set in an alternate reality, where in the 1950s, there's a lot of futuristic stuff going on. Hover cars and all that, just, yeah. Which, it was really awesome. So, having to finally get around to watching this show, and on account that for my part 1 review, me covering and reviewing the first 2 episodes of Hello Tomorrow, yeah. Again, I've been meaning to get around to this show for a while, and of course on account that I knew that when I would get around to watching this, well, I would be reviewing it, and thus, here we are. You're watching my part 1 review. And with the first 2 episodes, and with what we so far get into, is pretty interesting. Because so far where, business stuff going on and, selling advertisements and sales and all that, just on account of getting people up to the moon is very interesting. But at the same time, because, little do the people realize, on the side of business, where, there's, a bit of lies going on, just, with what specifically goes on, and what we so far see in the first 2 episodes, and it's going to be very interesting, what's going to happen from there on, in the next batch of episodes of Season 1. Yeah. And with this show having a good cast of talents, most prominently, one of the cast members being a voice acting regular on The Simpsons. You know who I'm talking about. We all love the guy. But also, with the show, again, being set in the 1950s, alternate reality, futuristic, and all that is really awesome. I love that. And definitely, because obviously, I recall that when I first checked out the trailer, it was definitely, and I'm sure for many of you, when checking out the trailer, giving you those vibes, especially back in the 50s and 60s, when, say, most prominently, Disney, Walt Disney himself being very fascinated with future technology and just all that. And at the time, what people of the 1950s and 60s thought the future would be like. Even say, with Disney, what they brought to Tomorrowland at Disneyland. With the look of its future having just looking really awesome at the time. And little did we realize, what the future would be like from there on. So, and not to mention because, what Hello Tomorrow did with doing that futuristic style, just like how it was in the 50s and 60s, well, 2 years after Hello Tomorrow came out, in the MCU, Fantastic Four: The First Steps would do the same thing too. A different Earth where, because in the 1960s of that Earth, it's futuristic and such. You get exactly what I'm saying. I love that. Yeah, that's great to see in some materials. And of course, with the vibe and feel of this show being set in the 50s, because with Fantastic Four being set in the 1960s, Hello Tomorrow being set in the 50s, But again, with its vibe and feel of the 1950s, but it's alternate, and with it having future stuff, and with the music and score, the songs that are played throughout the show. It's amazing. It really is. I've been so far overall having a good time watching this. And there are some things that, I didn't really expect. And, how could I? Because especially when checking out the trailer. And it had been a while since I had seen the trailer. But, But just, overall, so far with what I've watched and with the first 2 episodes of Hello Tomorrow is excellent. And I would definitely recommend it. Alright, so, with the first things I've had to say about Hello Tomorrow done / out of the way, and with the first 2 episodes, now, as always, read the description / the story / overview of the show itself, then to break down the episodes. In a retro-futuristic world, charismatic salesman Jack Billings leads a team of fellow sales associates determined to revitalize their customers' lives by hawking timeshares on the moon. Alright, so with reading the description / the story / overview done, now to dive in the show itself. And of course, starting with episode 1 titled Your Brighter Tomorrow Today. Description / the story. Take it from Jack Billings. The life you've always wanted is just one great deal away. Alright, so with reading the description / the story of episode 1, but more to say, because, and to also dive in / break down episode 1 itself, because, well, with episode 1, introducing us viewers to a retro-futuristic world, robots with pithy catchphrases, if I said that right, who serve drinks at 50s-style bars. Well, a woman in vintage dresses and coiffured hairstyles see off their husbands as they head to work via jetpack, and self-driving vans, and seemingly operated by an animated pencil bird and such, who deliver packages. I'm out delivering smiles, as that delivery animated bird says. And and the bird stating cheerfully, and even while the van, well, because we see it runs over, I didn't expect this, did you? It runs over a woman and drives away, like ramming her to the side of the garage door. Jeez, that's a heck of a way to start off. One of the first things we see to start off this episode, And the hit and run would be passed over like a blip in the radar of this otherwise perfectly picture-cue society. And no matter that technology seems to rapidly be replacing people's jobs and ruining their livelihoods. Sounds a bit familiar, but I wouldn't go that route. And because with us being introduced to salesman Jack Billings, whom we first see him at the start of the show at this cafe where he's convincing this one guy at the bar, about what he's proposing and selling, and with the mentioning of his daughter and all. So because Jack Billings, he'd rather set people's focus on dreams of a brighter future. And while his office manager, Shirley, and salesmen Eddie and Herb, Jack would sell timeshares on the moon for the company, Brightside, and with his charisma and charm, and he's rather quite good at it. We can clearly see. And because, as we saw at the start of this episode. And after several successful sales, well, Jack would share with his team that a letter came from the moon, and it's from his boss, the Brightside founder, Stan Jenkins. I think I said that right. Well, he wants them to pack up and go to Vistaville. I'm sure I got that right. Again, me sometimes. Cheryl would scoff at Jenkins being so out of touch, and, that there are perfectly good sales where they are at currently. But Jack, on the other hand, reminds her that what feels like a permanent sales voice, don't the people of Vistaville also deserve much better, brighter futures? All the above? Be a good point. Well, Well, and on the way to Vistaville, Cheryl and Eddie, yeah, because they would talk about going up to the moon themselves, and Eddie being just not really sure just how he feels about it at first, but with what Cheryl would say to him, yeah, that makes him very satisfying. Also, like a moment where, like, Eddie, he's listening to baseball and such on TV, on the radio, my bad, because, yeah, they're in their floaty cars. And yeah, because, you know, again, because with, like, seeing hover cars, how they're done, and all that, just, it's amazing. It's amazing. And man, because I can tell that this show, and after all, since it is a streaming show, having a pretty good budget, that's for sure. I mean, wouldn't you concur? Huh? Alright, and to acknowledge the main cast members, the first ones that we see, and yeah, with the first episode starting, well, because we have Jack Billings being played by the talented Billy Crudup, if I probably butchered his last name, but you know who it is, of course, yeah. Such a great talent, and, you know, the films that he's been in, from, say, 2009's Watchmen, Tim Burton's Big Fish, and Almost Famous, and amongst of other great materials he's been in. And, not to mention something else, Apple TV that he's on being The Morning Show. So good for him, like, doing something else on Apple TV. Yeah, and with what he brings into Jack Billings, I mean, so far, you know, the character and what he goes through, and what we discover from him, that he left a family and such. Yeah, but until I talk about that. But, you know, just overall, because so far, Billy, he's been very good with what I've seen so far of him as the character of Jack. And there's also Shirley Stedman. Yeah, I think I got it right. Yeah. Whom being played by Hanifa Wood. And yeah, with how much been seen of Hanifa Wood's performance as Miss Shirley is, yeah, she's really good in this. And we also have Herb Porter, played by Duchesne Williams. Yeah, I think I got his first name right, yeah. Yeah, Duchesne, he's good too, and especially because, yeah, his character alongside with Eddie Nichols, because, you know, the chemistry that they share is pretty amusing, and, yeah, and of course, Eddie Nichols being played by, as I did mention, one of the main voice regulars of The Simpsons, good old Hank Azaria. Yeah. Anything that has Hank Azaria in, come on. Like, we all love Hank Azaria. He's such a great talent. Voice acting and on-screen acting. Just, yeah. And with how much, yeah, so far seeing Hank Azaria in this, well, it's Hank Azaria. He's good. He's good in anything. Even if he's been in some films and shows that might have been, come on. He would definitely be enjoyable. That is for sure. Being one of those talents, great talents, but yeah. So to acknowledge those four main cast members, but yeah, then I'll mention the others as I proceed on. Well, because, and back on point, because, well, once they all four get to Vistaville, yeah, well, it's clear to us that, yeah, Mr. Billings, he lied, and that the letter wasn't from Jenkins, yeah, Mr. Jenkins, because, yeah, it was from his mother, Barbara. Yeah, see, because I mentioned, with the first things I've had to say, there's some lying in this, so, yeah. So, yeah, his mother, Barbara, whom did that letter, and who claimed to Jack that she was dying, and, well, in fact, she's not, but does have news for Jack. Marie, the mother of his child, his son, yeah, she's the one that we saw at the start of this episode who had been run over by that delivery van, and now she remains in a hospital in a coma, and now Jack, well, because he doesn't see why this would concern him, and the fact that, yeah, he would state that he hasn't seen Marie and his son all together in 18 years, and by now, the time and setting of where the show's taking place, his son will now be 20. Yeah. And, well, even, like, according to Jack, you know, because his son, even at 20, won't know who he is at first. But I think it's obvious that's going to happen, right? Very later on in the show. Well, and the idea of a perfect family would be a concept that Jack would often use in his sales pitches. And yeah, he would get to thinking of having a family of his own. And these thoughts color the next speech when he gives the potential buyers, when he asks them why they are all waiting to live their best. Yeah, in the video call, how a man named Buck is loving his life on the moon. Yeah. Yeah, and even Jack's mom was, told her, and, because in the end, Jack technically did listen to his mommy to go to them, go to his son Jack, and, that being her grandson. And, Jack's mother, Barbara Billings, being played by Jackie Weaver, another great talent, and how much we've so far seen her in Hello Tomorrow. Yeah, Jackie Weaver, if you've seen her in any other great materials, she's been in another talented actress. Then we would be greeted by Jack's son, Joey, and his last name being Shorter. Joey Shorter, being played by Nicholas Podany. If I think I got that right, yeah. And with how much I've so far seen Nicholas Podany as Joey, whom is the son of Jack, yeah, he's pretty good, and and him trying his best, and to go ahead and mention this, a little later in the episode, Jack offering Joey a position, because little does Joey realize that the position, where his father's in, this business and such, yeah. In fact, because Jack at one point did invite Joey to, where Jack was doing those sales pitches and stuff, and with the mentioning of Buck, as I said. But this particular speech that Jack gave, well, it doesn't speak to many except for Joey himself, yeah. And yeah, because when at one point and a little later, Jack would actually go to see Marie in the hospital, well, he would run into Joey, his son, and of course recognizing him and all. And as Joey would thank him for his inspiring speech, and, even though it didn't click for anyone besides Joey, to me, I thought that speech was well said, and if anybody feeling the same way too, like Joey. Because Jack, he doesn't say anything about their relation to each other, at least not yet. And he would claim he must be on the wrong floor. And after upgrading Joey to a nicer unit for his future life on the moon, he would then leave. And Joey being very pleased by this and with what Jack has just given to Joey. And even when, reading this to his mother still in a coma, well, back at the presentation space, well, there would be one man that would approach Eddie where, because he would twist and injure Eddie's hand for not having all the money he owes his employer. I wonder what this is all fully about. Well, and as the show proceeds, because that one guy that, and I should have seen it coming, because where, he twist poor Eddie, because, his fingers being twisted and all, just one of them. And the person that approaches him then would twist his fingers and all, that being Sal, being played by Michael Harney. I think, I'm saying that right. I know I've probably seen him before, and, because another good talent, and if you've seen Mr. Michael Harney and other stuff. Yeah. All right, but then meanwhile, Jack, well, he would deliver Joey a rejected application and a refund, and Joey would then find him at his hotel to plead with him, and that he has to go to the moon. He's really determined to go to the moon and such. But there's nothing for him down here, and, and Jack insisting his problems will still be waiting for him on the moon. And just, it doesn't go too well, because, where Joey views Jack as an asshole and such, because with how that conversation is going. But yeah, because, with Joey is persistent, still, as I said, well, that Jack tells him it might be time for him to find a new dream. And, being a great addition to the Brightside team. Yep, because this is where Jack would have his son be on a board for being a part of Brightside team. Nice to see. And then later, well, Jack would check in on Buck, who doesn't actually live on the moon, because, yeah, like, he visited his mom for a moment, and when, yeah, he told her about, seeing Joey again, and now that Joey is a part of the Brightside team, just like, yeah, and Jack's grandmother, and, yeah, her being the grandmother of Joey, being very happy and such. And again, Jack did listen to his mommy, so yeah, very important. But yeah, after that, because then at one point he would hear Buck singing, and yeah, because when he would visit Buck in, the same place that his mother is residing at, because again, we see that Buck doesn't actually live on the moon, and as Jack testified to his customers, yeah, because at that, sales pitch, showing Bucky, whom is, supposedly living on the moon, but not being the case, as we would see. And yeah, because rather, he would live in the same building as Jack's mother, he would talk to Jack as if he believes, he is on the moon, and it's all thanks to him, and, well, Buck would then advise Jack to pay his respects to Mr. Jenkins, and Mr. Jenkins just so happens to be, Buck's pet turtle, yeah, and rather than, Jack's boss, so there you go. Now we know, because what's really going on with the business that's being technically led by Jack, yeah. And in fact, because as we saw at the start of this episode, the gentleman he was talking to at a diner, and he gave the gentleman a piece of a rock from the moon, which turned out not to be from the moon, because it actually was just, just some rocks that were inside of Mr. Jenkins' home, where the turtle resides, that. So, he snatched a couple of rocks, and yeah, pretending that they're moon rocks. Good God. And the episode, what's left of the episode, it would end with Jack introducing Joey onto the Brightside team, and a team that likely they have no idea of the actual inner workings of their company. And they do not realize currently that, Joey is the son of Jack. Yeah, especially how they view and treat Joey a little bit. And by the next episode, well, until I talk about that. But just, yeah, what an interesting way for the show to start off, and with what episode 1 had to, so far show us and such. Yeah, so episode 1, where it starts off, yeah, Your Brighter Tomorrow Today was a good way to start off this show. And, again, our first taste on what we see and what it's like. And in the case of this business, Brightside team and, led by Jack. And there are a lot of lies, oh boy, because with whatever is going to be going on throughout the rest of the show, for me watching it, oh yeah. But again, episode 1, Your Brighter Tomorrow Today, excellent. A great way to start off the show. Okay, now we come to the second to last episode in my part 1 review of Hello Tomorrow. Yes, episode 2, which being titled, Great Salesmen Make Their Own Turf. Description / the story. Believe it or not, 99% of sales are decided on first impressions. Look sharp, you know your stuff, and don't let the pressure get to you. Okay, so in the second episode, well, Jack would fabricate a letter from Jenkins and sending it to Cheryl, and yeah, in the letter are orders to delay launches until next quarter. And Cheryl, well, she is upset at Jenkins' nonsense, and that they'll have to issue refunds now. Yeah, that's not good. And, well, she wants to move from Vistaville once again, but Jack, being there to manipulatively assuage her concerns by reminding her of the joy they are giving people. Yeah. So, in addition to his retail job, well, Joey, he would then start working for Brightside, because, yeah, we see that Joey is, working at a convenience store and all that, and doing shelves, and his boss, well, seems like a Ice Boss and some of the chemistry that they have in episode 2, you know. Yeah, well, Jack, because, yeah, with him going out with Joey on his first day, but much to Cheryl's chagrin, if I might have butchered that one word, but, you know, he would give the newcomer the good leads, but Joey, well, at first he's unable to get inside a single door. And yeah, because the first day for Joey doesn't go exactly as expected, and it could be natural sometimes, yeah. But nevertheless, Jack is endlessly encouraging, and he would even buy Joey and the rest of the team tickets for a baseball game that evening, yeah, and claiming the young man has earned it. Well, I mean, that's good for Jack, because Jack is the father of Joey. Little does everybody realize, including Joey himself, but we, the audience, know, yeah. All right, and then Cheryl, yeah, she would remain skeptical of having any more success in Vistaville, and out of 48 sales that they have made. And, well, by losing 6 due to the launch delay and her thinking it's time for Jack to let go of Joey and get his mind back on sales. And as I mentioned, how they treat Joey by the second episode, yeah, because it's not like they're really bullying at him or anything like that, but it's like, say, you know, Eddie and Herb, because when we see them having a talk with him, Eddie, he put poor Joey, his tie, in like a bowl of soup or something, just getting it messed up, just, oh my gosh. But yeah, just because, you know, but again, little do they realize, and, you know, just, like, Joey just got started, so, you know, I feel as though there's just no reason to just, like, flat out pick at him, just, yeah. And meanwhile, and speaking more of Herb and Eddie, well, they would try, but, you know, when we cut to them trying to do some sales, yeah, we would see them, you know, trying to do a sell to a couple, but, well, they accidentally find themselves making a pitch to a man and his mistress, yeah. And rather than the man and wife that they were expecting, they thought it was going to be husband and wife. Nope, that's the total opposite. And later, well, Herb, he would return to the household to confess the situation to the wife, whom being Myrtle, yeah. And he would, Herb would leave her with a Pemlet, and assuring her that, you know, she deserves a fresh start, yeah. And not to mention, because Herb and Eddie, because, you know, when they got confused and, and, like, they looked at the picture of the guy whom is married and his actual wife, just, yeah. And it just didn't go so well, and the guy just, you know, told them just to get the hell out of his house and so on, yeah. And speaking of Myrtle, because, yeah, whom being one of the other main characters of Hello Tomorrow, yeah, Myrtle. Myrtle Mayburn, whom being played by another great talent in the show, Allison Pill. Yeah, the lovely, talented Allison Pill. She's done a lot of other great shows and films, and, you know, since she's no stranger to doing anything science fiction, well, she had been in, say, the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Picard. Yeah, so how much that, you know, we've seen Allison Pill in Hello Tomorrow, and of course, yeah, we'll see more of her as the show proceeds. Yeah, because, you know, again, Allison Pill being a great talent, and, you know, with what happens with Myrtle at the start, yeah, it's unfortunate, you know, but at least she found out from Herb, and I mean, that was good from Herb and all that, and with what he specifically said to Myrtle, and that, you know, she can have a much better life, and with what Herb told her. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, because Myrtle does obviously agree. We would see that very later on in the episode, where, yeah, because later that evening when we come back to Myrtle, she intentionally causes a grilling contraption to malfunction. And while, yeah, Myrtle just walks away, out of her house and, which is set to ablaze. And with her husband still being inside, he was watching something on TV, and little did he realize. And she took off her wedding ring and put it in the grilling contraption. Now, that could definitely, cause a fire, yeah, but, yeah, that at the same time with, overdoing the grill with what's being cooked in it. There you go. Well, then, Jack, coming back to Jack, well, he would try giving Joey new tactics for selling to sad and desperate people and such. Not a good state. And yeah, because he would have a new challenge for Joey just to get inside one door. Just try to get in at least just one door for the day. And Joey would do so. And yeah, because completely on his own, because after a few attempts, and when Joey was trying, and it just didn't go well, and Jack, he did have his back, but up to when, because Jack was putting Joey to the test, Jack pretending to be a grandmother who was, having something baked in the oven, and just, she was, determined to get back to the oven, but with Joey doing sales, with Jack putting Joey to the test, Jack playing the part of someone that Joey is wanting to, sell something to, but ultimately, in the end, it seems to be that Joey's making good progress, and with what Jack did, playing someone, and yeah, because with Joey successfully going up by himself, and yeah, because, from in the car, Jack just watching, and he's very proud of his son. That's great to see. And so far, because, I can tell. I think I can tell, but until I continue with rest of the show, I genuinely feel as though that, come on, Jack doesn't really seem that much of a bad man, because it's totally obvious that right up to here, especially when Jack was trying to help out Joey, and how proud he was when Joey finally got inside of a house to proceed with a sales pitch and such. Yeah, it shows that it's obvious that in his heart, he's a good man, and with how much that he wants to reconnect with his son, and all that, that is good. It's very important. Yeah, and I'm sure it's obvious that Jack just realizing that it was such a stupid mistake to leave aside a family that he had built, a wife and a son, just all that, and just there be no excuse. Facts, But yeah, then afterwards, and what would happen next, and up to the evening time, because yeah, on the way to the baseball game, well, Eddie would catch sight of Cheryl stowing away the bag of refund money in her car, and he would later sneak out to break into her car and use the money to make a bet on the game. But, well, he unfortunately is too late, as Cheryl already had taken the money to run an ad for Brightside at the baseball game, and on the radio against Jack's wishes. Yeah. And then Joey, well, because with all of them being at the baseball game, and I was wondering to myself, because right up to when we got up to the baseball game, I was like, how's baseball gonna look in the show, and with it being a alternate world where, the 50s is futuristic. Well, baseball just about looking the same, I guess. Yeah. Really cool. Well, yeah, because they're all there, because from Shirley to Eddie, Herb, Jack, and Joey. Well, after a few of them, left their seats, yeah, and it just comes down to Joey and Herb being there. And Herb, Eddie, and Shirley, they got some, back seats, because Jack did mention to Joey that they would have, some pretty good up-front seats, and, yeah, they seem to have a good view of the game. Well, as I was about to say, because Joey, he would confess to Herb that he actually didn't get in the door during his sales pitch. because he had paid $10 for the guy to let him stand inside for a while and not wanting to let Jack down. And yeah, just how guilty Joey feels, yeah, and then he would leave the game earlier. And Herb assures Joey that, you know, his secret is safe with him. Let's hope so. After how you treated Joey some at the start, I don't know, but yeah. But okay, yeah, because, you know, surely because with what Jack is told, like, you know, so we would see Joey back at his retail job, and then Joey, well, he would give a new sales tactic a try, and he would make a pitch to his boss without his knowledge that he's making a pitch, and when his boss decides to buy a C-Plex, well, and obviously Joey just realized that, oh my gosh, I succeeded, yeah. Well, he would return to Jack with the news, and, well, Jack would invite him inside to help them with all the new calls they're now getting from Cheryl's ads. Great to see. And yeah, because it turns out that what Shirley did, and when it was shown at the baseball game, the Brightside advertisement did pretty well, yeah. Yeah, and also to acknowledge, the other characters, and including Joey's boss at, you know, the retail store and all. Yeah, Joey's boss, by the name of Big Fred, being played by W. Earl Brown. And yeah, if you guys have seen Earl Brown in other films and all that, yeah, he you know, so far, and with how much we've seen of Big Fred, pretty good. And like I said, where it seems as though that Joey seems to have a nice, decent boss, and again, where the chemistry we see them have a little bit in this episode, and then when it came up to that pitch that Joey, you know, made and giving to his boss, turning out good. And some of the other characters, because, there's, there's Marvin Mayburn, the husband, whom being played by Gabriel Ebert, and Cindy, whom being the maid and all, being played by Kafia Maris Lopez. Yeah, I think I got that right. And there's also Hartunian, if I got that name right, being played by Adam Laverne, I'm probably butchering that one last name, but eh. And there's also Maureen being played by Brianna Starks, and some baseball fans being played by Joy Decker, Charlene Tetizveski, and Bob Lazak, And there's also Dabrowski, played by Matthew F. Connor, and there's Hikaru Makoto, who being played by Rich Ting. So to name off some of the other cast members, as I like to do sometimes. But yeah, so with how episode 2 ends off, and looking pretty good now for Joey. He managed to succeed with what he pitched to his boss at the retail convenience store and all. And coming back in and taking the calls in Shirley's office. Yeah, that's great to see. Yep. Episode 2, Great Salesmen Make Their Own Turf. Another pretty good episode, and for it being the second episode of Hello Tomorrow, and so far, a pretty good start with what this show has to offer. Yeah, the first 2 episodes, and to round things off, my final thoughts, episodes 1 and 2, what they first offer, and where the story of the show starts, pretty interesting. I love the whole concept where, it's an alternate reality. We're in the 1950s. It's futuristic. And with what we've so far seen in these characters, and we've got, the whole thing of someone that is trying to reconnect with his family, especially his son, but little does his son realize, and everybody else, and with how that's gonna be as the show proceeds, when obviously the truth's going to come out, but not to mention with what's going on, really, with Brightside Team, the lies and all that, but, just being one of those things. And the humorous moments that came in the first 2 episodes, because this show being a mixture of comedy and drama, pretty good, The look and style of the show, and again, just with the in an alternate reality of the 1950s being futuristic, amazing. And like I said, where this show having a pretty good budget, and because it is a streaming show, so yeah. I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I've been so far enjoying it, and yeah, with me continuing on, watching and reviewing Hello Tomorrow, yeah, it's been really good. The first 2 episodes of Hello Tomorrow, really good. Yeah, good way to start off the show. And what about you guys? What did you think of the first 2 episodes of Hello Tomorrow? And if this show appealed to you, it got you interested, have you watched the entirety of the show? What do you think of it? And when you started on the first 2 episodes, with what the show has to offer, with its storyline, its characters, its setting, and with what the first 2 episodes had to so far offer, how the show itself starts off with episodes 1 and 2, just need I go on? Again, overall, what did you think of the first 2 episodes of Hello Tomorrow itself? With what all I've had to say, my part 1 review, and yeah, what did you think of my part 1 review of Hello Tomorrow? Yep, starting with episodes 1 and 2. Leave comments, and give this review video a like, as always. And so guys, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my part 1 review of the first 2 episodes of Hello Tomorrow. Episode 1, Your Brighter Tomorrow Today, and Episode 2, Great Salesmen Make Their Own Turf. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I will see you guys in the next video / review. Take care, and well, continuing on reviewing Hello Tomorrow, so stay tuned for my part 2 review of episodes 3, 4, and 5. Yep, until then, take care, and peace out.